Okay, I'm going to call to order the Wednesday, August 6th, 2025 meeting. It is 11:04 on Wednesday morning, August 6th of the Evaluation Committee for Affordable Housing Development located at Orange, Vesper Lane, and Bartlett Road. Members of the committee, when I call your name, please signify that you're here. Christy Ferrantella,
Here.
Bernie Husser,
Here.
Dawn Hill,
Here.
Leslie Snell,
Here.
Rick Sears,
Here.
Tracy McDonald,
Here.
and I do not see Shanta Blois Murphy or Abby DiMolina. Okay.
Jamaican Independence Day, or Chantal is kind of probably out bouncing around.
Okay. Thank you for that, Rick. So next I'll note that this meeting is being audio and video recorded. Next I'll take a motion for approval of the agenda as was posted on the town's website.
So moved.
Second. Okay. Motion by Christy, seconded by Dawn. All in favor by roll call. Christy Ferrantella,
Aye.
Bernie Husser,
Aye.
Dawn Hill,
Aye.
Leslie Snell,
Aye.
Rick Sears,
Aye.
Tracy McDonald,
Aye.
and okay, and myself, I'm an aye. Okay. Next I'll open it up for public comment for items not on the agenda that was posted. Seeing no hands, I'll close public comments. And the agenda items as noted are review and discussions of affirmative investments proposal number 1, review of discussion of affirmative investments proposal number 2, and potentially an evaluation committee recommendation to the Affordable Housing Trust, in which case we may take votes today. So I think the critical component today is for the committee. We went through an evaluation of proposal 1. We originally had thought that proposal 2 might be more where members felt was a little better in terms of financing. We had a presentation and affirmative answered some questions on that particular proposal. Now it's up to us to have a discussion on both proposals and rank them as collaboratively as a group and then make a recommendation. So I'm going to open it up to the group to make observations on either proposal. And hopefully we can work towards a recommendation that my office will write up the recommendation and then send that to a regularly scheduled Affordable Housing Trust meeting in the very near short term. So I think I'll start off if everybody's okay with that. Overall, I think I had both proposals rated as highly advantageous because I think they hit all of the points that we were looking for. But after listening to and seeing and reviewing a little bit more of affirmative investments presentation, I personally felt after that, even though it's a much larger ask in terms of potential participation by the trust, the focus on workforce housing and the ability to get that project started and off the ground quicker and in a faster, better timeline, I believe myself as an evaluator better aligns with what the trust goals are in disposing of these properties for development.
So is that proposal 2 then?
No, it's proposal 1. Proposal 1 was workforce with less LIHTC money.
Can we see, you can't display those two, that one slide that has the numbers on it, right?
I think I can get to them both. Yeah, if people want to talk while I'm doing that, Rick, I'll go in and I'll pull them up for you, but yeah.
I agree with that the going towards workforce, even though there's more financial participation from the trust, is the better way to go for the community.
And I did say the same thing. I had written in my notes from our last meeting that I felt the trade-off financially would be worth it, especially with the timing. I think the longer this goes, the harder it is for us, and the sooner we can get the projects moving along and showing that things are happening, the better.
I'm going to actually share this one page. I think this is the one that you're looking for, Rick. I have this. Can everybody see that by chance?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is what you were looking at, Rick, in the workforce.
No,
Now, we
can't. Oh, there you go. Oh, yeah, there you go.
One thing we have to remember though is that this is here it is. This is the request. Our recommendation is based on a proposal, and ultimately the Affordable Housing Trust will make the determination, and this will all be subject to discussions on the land development agreement and numerous other factors, including potential financing. But the workforce, the request in the proposal was for 18.84 million, and in the LIHTC, majority of the units below 80%, the potential contribution from the town was 11,882,000.
Thank you, Brian, for putting it up.
Okay, is it okay if I stop sharing so I can see everybody now, Rick?
Yeah.
Okay, or does anybody else have any other questions before I take this off? Okay, so I'm going to stop screen sharing that. Okay. So like I said, I really do believe, well, the number is a pretty big ask, potentially across the development, the speed at which it would be able to be done, having some experience with how difficult LIHTC funding can be in these amounts and what we've gone through in at least one other project. And knowing, I think that the trust's focus is really on workforce housing, I think that their proposal number one actually aligns more with what the trust's ultimate goal was for the disposal of these properties.
And I don't really think there's that much difference in the numbers. I mean, if you take the passage of time and the risk, in fact, it goes both in, the risk of prices coming in even higher than currently anticipated. It's probably a couple $1 million decision to have start immediately as opposed to 18 months or 24 months. I feel like that funding is difficult.
I agree with that as well. I mean, at first, the 26% versus 40% seemed like a really big difference. But in terms of dollars, in looking at the chart, it's not. And timing works out to dollars as well. So I'm in favor of proposal one.
I'll chime in, and I agree with what's been said. I went
Brian?
back and took a look at our housing production plan and where the most need is at different AMI levels. And I think that missing middle in that workforce housing is something that is really important to create units at. So I'd be in favor of proposal one.
Anyone else have any comments, concerns, suggestions, observations?
We'll just follow up on one of our main
Just
concerns.
a couple of questions.
Okay. Go ahead, Bernie.
Okay. And this is, for affirmative as well as you, and I'm, trying to keep track of these with, the just paper on my desk, unfortunately. But how many units of workforce housing are in both of the proposals, are in 1 and 2? Because 2 has some workforce housing in it. And I was just trying to remember. My recollection was that there were, I think, 49 workforce housing units. Again, workforce housing being above 60% of AMI in number 1, and maybe 23 in number 2. Is that right?
I'm trying to pull up we had a slide on that in our presentation. Oh, wait, here it is. Hold on a second.
Thanks, Tara.
Yeah, hold on, just give me a minute here. So this might be helpful. Let me see if I can share. Yep.
Is it the bar graph that you're looking at?
Yeah, it's the bar graph. Do you want to just bring that one up? I think that's
Yeah,
helpful
I
to
can do that.
show.
I thought it might be, but I wasn't sure, so that's why I was hoping you would be able to
Yep,
help me. Okay. All right.
So I'll have to add each of these up, but so let's see, 8 plus 2.
This is the one you're looking at, right, Tara?
Yep. So 14. Although this doesn't give exact numbers. I'll
No,
get back to you, but visually you guys can see here, and then I'll look at our performance and add them all up.
Are these charts, are this something that was provided to us, the
Yeah, I
team?
think I have it. I can send it to you, Bernie, but I can't, even if you click on this chart, it doesn't give you the number because it's a table from somewhere else. So like, I'm assuming that 16 is right around the one at 80% is 15. So you're looking at about 27, 30, 38, and call it 17. You're looking at about 45, I think, or something. Is that about what, Tara?
Yeah, hold on. Although Virginia's,
I have it too.
I was gonna say Virginia's doing a better job.
The
Yeah.
workforce proposal has 16 units at 30, 50, 18 at 60, and then there's 23 from 80 to 120.
Tech only?
Or sorry, that's the LIHTC proposal. And then the workforce proposal has 8 below 50, 4 at 60, and 45 from 80 to 120.
So 45 versus 23. Okay.
Okay. Okay. And then my other question is just, with respect to the decision making now and what you're just trying to accomplish. So we're trying to get a preference for option 1 versus option 2. But in terms of the moving forward and decision making and moving forward with affirmative, if vote to suggest that we do so, do you have to move forward with one proposal versus another at this point in time to make a choice?
Ideally, it would be cleaner for us to make a recommendation to the trust on one or the other. We could, I believe, in my opinion, we could submit both proposals to them with our recommendation on what we saw as the benefits, advantages, disadvantages on each proposal, and tell the trust that this may be some policy decision that they have to come up with to ultimately award and enter into negotiations. We have to remember that any one we do is still going to be subject to the trust's ability to negotiate an acceptable land development agreement, financing agreement, and everything else that goes along with it. So, but I think that our purpose of our evaluation is to help guide or inform the trust of what our review of the proposals was and make a recommendation, but they certainly are free to go in the other direction if they so desired.
Okay. Because I have, I think, a little bit different role here. I'm not a Nantucket resident. I'm the financial advisor, to the town on obviously on another project, a real estate project, and just a perspective about affordable housing and low income housing and workforce housing and all of that. So, my initial up until this phone call, my initial belief was that the 18.8 million for the number of housing units that the town was going to get, because housing units are the same. So in terms of how much you're getting, there's just a little bit there's a difference between the focus of how many are higher income workforce versus more affordable, deeper affordability at or below 60% of AMI. That 18.8 million of town borrowing is going to be much, much more, as it would in any of these cases, because the town has to borrow that money and then pay interest on that money and pay that back before it gets anything from the transaction. So 10 million, 18 million, we have another deal that we're looking at 8.7 million becoming 12.5 million. So my guess is that almost 19 million becomes high 20s million that the town pays, and 11.8 becomes 18 over time, or some other number. I'm guessing at those numbers, but they're informed guesses. So I just looked at that number being such a high number for the number of total units being built, and the difference between workforce and lower income skewed, housing units, although may very much be what the town wants. If that's the case, that's the issue and that's the decision. That's where the folks so far have sort of pointed towards. Just I'm saying, from my perspective, it's a very expensive way to get at workforce housing instead of affordable, more deeply affordable housing. You're still getting the same number of units. So I'm sort of came into this with a preference for number 2, but in any case, I think the goal would be to work with affirmative through the process to come up with the best mix, the best outcome for the town. And I think they're a great firm at doing that. They're used to doing that. They want to do that. They want to give the town what they want. And they'll work with you to do that. And that's how people partner together on these things and negotiate and figure it out. So I know I'm not giving an answer, and I think I'm gonna not give an answer between 1 and 2. But I just wanted to point out some of those things and clarify for me, maybe for other folks, what the goals were and what's involved here. So sorry to take all that time.
No, I think it's helpful. I mean, I think it's helpful to understand your opinion and how you're looking at it. I think that's what makes this discussion good, to be honest with you. So does anybody else have any? I can't see everybody, I'm sorry. Anybody else have any observation? Shanta, any thoughts?
I'm here struggling to try to pull up the 2 proposals so I can remember what I wrote for both, so bear with me. Move to someone else.
I think Leslie talked, Tracy talked, Christy talked. I think we're just kind of waiting to see what your feelings are here, and especially as the trust representative, I think it's critical that, would be helpful, I guess I should say, Shanta, that maybe you provide a little background on what you think or how you see the trust viewing these when we get them to them.
I think given the projects that we're currently working on, sorry, I have the hardest time with OpenGov, as you know, Brian. I just struggle to figure this out. It's too many fancy gadgets in here. I miss my papers. But I think given the current projects that we already have in the pipeline, I feel uncomfortable speaking for the entire trust because I know there's some that would disagree with me on this likely, but I personally preferred proposal 2. I guess I'll just speak for myself.
Okay.
I preferred proposal 2. Because I like the mix of the different income brackets. I appreciate the fact that we're working on or possibly working to get municipal housing as a priority in there, but also looking to work to get I'm sorry, I'm in film land right now, so my brain is farting a lot, but looking to get the different income brackets covered And I think that's what I appreciated about that the most. I'm trying to figure out which one was most expensive because I naturally leaned towards that one a little bit more because I appreciated those. But I think that was
So
proposal.
that was proposal one,
That was
Chantal.
proposal. Oh, I'm sorry. Then it was proposal one that I liked the most. Sorry. Sorry. Proposal one was the one I liked the most.
Yeah, which had more workforce housing at the height.
Yes,
Okay. Yeah.
exactly. Yes, that was the one I preferred. Thank you.
And I'm pretty sure that Abby said that she was leaning towards the workforce mix last week too, or whenever we last met. So, I mean, I'd like to see us send it back to the trust with a preference for proposal one.
Yeah,
was just
I
gonna
mean,
suggest. Sorry,
go
Tracy.
ahead, Christie.
I was gonna suggest that we send it back to the trust with a recommendation for proposal one, and at that time, the trust, can weigh in on their preferences. And I guess my question to Brian is, through this process, can it be an iterative process where if the trust did want a few more units at 30 or 60% of AMI, can we work those details out with the funding coming from the trust instead of the LIHTC deal? Because I think for me personally, it was the timing of it was one of the main things that drove me towards the first proposal, was that these units would get on board quicker if it's funding through the town versus LIHTC.
So I think you asked me a question, which I think that there's any range of possibilities. I mean, we can send both proposals to them with a note that our recommendation is that they consider proposal one for the following reasons, but that we felt proposal two was viable, but not as advantageous for the following reasons, which might be the length of time, but it would also, we have to remember that because we make that recommendation to the trust, they're not obligated to take it. We're making our recommendation, right? We were charged with evaluating and making a recommendation on the proposals to the trust. And like any of the other ones that we do with this, there's going to be a length of time of negotiations in terms of the land development agreement and all the other everything else that goes together in putting this together. And then also working with Hilltop Bond Council and the trusts and figuring out what the potential, and I say potential because the trust has to approve everything, obviously, but what the potential participation would look like. And there's a wide range of possibilities, Christy. I think to your point, I think that the trust could certainly say we like proposal one because of the speed, but we would like more units at the lower end. And rather than go through LIHTC, we may choose to fund that in a different way, and that would change our commitment. I would say it this way, I know that affirmatives asked for 18.8 million in that one and 11 point whatever, but that doesn't mean that that's what the trust participation will ultimately look like. That's up to the trust if they decide to move forward based on our recommendation, right? But I think there's an opportunity, to your point, where if the speed and flexibility gathered under option one was amenable and the trust wanted to pursue it, if they wanted to change that mix, if they were willing to do it to alleviate that gap that we all know exists with LIHTC funding, I certainly wouldn't rule that out as a possibility. I hope does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
So I want to make sure everyone on the committee feels like they've had an opportunity to weigh in, or after the discussion have another question or more that they want to weigh in on, because I want to make sure that we've had as complete and in-depth of a conversation after reviewing them and seeing and talking to affirmative and then seeing that presentation. Because after this, I think once we make that recommendation or vote to, the only other thing will be for my office to write the recommendation up, and then we'll probably have to have a quick, I don't know how we'll do it. We'll have to have people look at it to make sure that it's okay. That'll go to the trust and they'll schedule a meeting likely to start the process with the chosen developer or recommended developer to see where we end up.
So the trust has scheduled a meeting for next Tuesday, the 12th.
Great. So we don't have much time to write this. So, all right. Does everybody on the committee feel like they've had a good opportunity to discuss this and are ready to kind of try to figure out where we're going to land with a recommendation, or does the group think we need to have some more conversation?
Good.
Okay. If everybody's good, just give me a thumbs up and we'll move to the next one. Okay. I'll just throw something out for discussion and we'll see where we land. I would make the motion that we send both proposals to the Affordable Housing Trust with the preference from the group that we had option one rated stronger than option two for timeline reasons and the income brackets that it serves.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Bernie, you unmuted, so I'm beginning, I believe you might want to.
No, I was preparing. I was just
Okay.
preparing for the next step. No, I have no, I'm great with that decision.
Did anybody else, any discussion whatsoever? Okay, then I guess I'll move to a vote. Christy Ferrantella,
Aye.
Bernie Husser,
Because I've already unmuted, or muted, anyway, aye.
okay, Dawn Hill,
Aye.
Leslie Snell,
Aye.
Rick Sears,
Aye.
Tracy McDonald,
Aye.
John Todd Blois Murphy,
Aye.
and Brian Turbot is an aye. So that is unanimous with Abby being absent. At this point, I think that the evaluation committee's work is essentially done. Christy, would you just send members of the committee, evaluation committee, when information on when the trust meeting is, if people can attend? I mean, maybe it would be good for the trust to hear, but my office will start writing this up. We'll send it to people. Please don't respond back, but we'll send what we've written up so that everybody's aware of what we're forwarding to the trust. And then Tara, David, and your group, Christy, I believe, I don't want to put any work on your plate, Christy, but she will send you the information relative to the meeting next week when we'll present this recommendation to the trust. And they'll have a discussion, I'm sure, and then we'll start the process from there.
Okay,
Great.
that'd be
Thank
great.
you.
So you're not looking for a presentation from us next week? Just
I think that we'll go through our process with them
Yep.
about the two proposals. We'll explain what we liked about proposal one and why it was recommended. And we will let the trust decide at that point what they want to do. I don't want to speak for them, Tara, to be honest
Yep,
with you.
no problem. Can you just tell me the time right now that you've scheduled for that?
It's 12:30 on Tuesday.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
And with that, I want to say thank you to everybody. I know that this is a very difficult and long process to the members of the committee, but I certainly appreciate all of your work and diligence in reviewing these. And Tara and David, and to your team, I want to say thank you for not only submitting, but going through this with us and the work that you put into it. I think it was really great, and we certainly appreciate it.
We thank you, and we're hoping to be able to work with all of you in the future. So thank you.
We're impressed with the intelligence of your consideration.
Thank you. All right, with that, probably what everybody's looking forward to, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor by roll call, Christy Ferrantella,
Aye.
Bernie Husser,
Aye.
Dawn Hill,
Aye.
Leslie Snell,
Aye.
Rick Sears,
Aye.
Tracy McDonald,
Aye.
John Todd Blois Murphy,
Aye.
Brian Turbot is an aye. That's unanimous. We are officially adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.